Anyone who has a heartbeat and has been alive for the past 12 months has known that inflation has been raging and is currently at 40-year highs. We hit a high of 9.1% year-over-year inflation in June, which is something we literally haven't seen since the early 80s. Inflation has cooled slightly from that peak in June of 9.1% to now 6.5% year-over-year inflation. Now, just to contextualize these numbers for you, the federal government likes to target about a 2% inflation year over year to maintain a healthy economy. So when we're sitting at 6, 7, 8, 9% inflation, we're talking 3, 4, almost 5 times what the target rate for what the government is trying to get. So the million-dollar question is what to do with all of the savings, the investments, the cash or money that you have stashed under the mattress for a rainy day. What to do with all of this money so that it doesn't lose massive value while inflation is raging. And unfortunately, the stock market just isn't a safe place right now for many people with what their goals are for their savings. The S&P 500 is still down about 10% year over year, and with a recession here or looming just down the road, there's certainly going to be a lot more volatility to come in the market. So given that the stock market is just such a risky bet right now, crypto and Bitcoin have fallen off a cliff. They're not safe bets. NFTs, forget about it. And any other alternative investments are just really sketchy right now. High yield savings accounts and iBonds are a fantastic option for any of you who want a safe place to keep your money. So in this video, I'm going to walk through the top 5 savings accounts right now that are giving the highest rate of returns and that are safe bets to put your money in right now. And make sure you stick around to the end of the video because I have one bonus investment that is very secure and pays a significantly higher rate than any of the other savings accounts that are on the market right now. And one really important thing to note here is that the rates that these banks, the savings accounts and high yield savings accounts here that I'm going to walk you through, they will change on a regular basis depending on what the federal government is doing. These could change on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. So make sure you keep an eye on these because these will fluctuate and change over time. All right, so here we are at the first account that I want to walk you through, and this is with Varo, and they're found at varomoney.com. And this is a great savings account here. So you can see that you will earn 3% APY and qualify to earn up to 5% APY. So absolutely crazy. There's some stipulations here on how to get this 5% APY. So you get it by meeting these 2 requirements here. So receive direct deposits totaling $1,000 or more and end the month with a positive balance in both your bank account and savings account. And then anything above $5,000, so you'll earn 5% on $5,000, and then anything above that, you'll earn the standard 3% here. So depending on how much you have in the bank, this could be a really great option. If you have $5,000, then you're going to be making 5%, which is pretty incredible. Varo has this actually really convenient little chart here that I wanted to show everyone. So what is APY? Because I'm going to mention that many times throughout the video. So that's annual percentage yield. That's basically how much interest you're going to accrue over the course of a year. So they have this little chart here showing you with a $2,000 savings balance over an entire year, you'll earn $100. At a 3% interest rate, you'll earn 60, and at 0.3, you'll only earn $6. So this 0.3 here is what you're going to find on the vast majority of national banks. So pick any national bank that you know of, all the big names, and go check out their websites. And more than likely, they're going to have extremely low interest rates around this 0.3%. Some are even like 0.01%. They're just atrocious, and they're not providing any value. Which is why I highly recommend one of these banks that are digital friendly, really online first digital banks, and they absolutely provide the best rates that you can find. Okay, so the second savings account and bank in this list is SoFi. And SoFi is a fantastic provider of banking products. They have a number of other products as well. You can do brokerage. They started off a number of years ago as a startup out of Stanford to help solve student loan issues, and they provide student loans and refinancing and all of that. But they've since opened a traditional bank, and as all these other banks in this list, they provide really great rates. So this first here, as you can see, first you get a sign-up bonus of $250, so pretty cool. And you can earn up to 3.75% APY with no account fees. So of course there's stipulations to this, just like our previous bank, Varo. Here's a list of items or things you need to do to get the $250 sign-up bonus. But here's where you can find how to get that 3.75%. So if you have a direct deposit, you can earn 3.75% on the savings and the vault balances, and then 2.5% APY on your checking balances. So pretty incredible. That's a lot of money. 3.75% is definitely an incredible rate. And again, SoFi is a great option for anybody out there. And one really important question that I had when I was researching SoFi was whether or not there's a cap to this 3.75%. So obviously you know how to get the 3.75%. But conveniently down here, you can see in their FAQ section that there is currently not a maximum on the 3.75% APY for savings or vaults. So as long as you have that direct deposit set up, you can be earning 3.75% on all the money that you have in the account. All right, so now we're at option number 3, or savings account, high yield savings account number 3 with Ally. And Ally is a fantastic option. They're a great bank that's been around for a while, and they consistently have one of if not the highest returns that you can get on their savings accounts. So again, as I mentioned earlier in the video, these APYs that the banks offer continually get updated, and over the past year and a half, they've been going up significantly. And Ally is generally leading the pack with raising these rates. And so great option. You're usually going to find a really great rate with them. And here's actually like a really cool chart here as they're comparing to 3 of the major banks that I'm sure many of you have accounts with. And you can see here their APY is 3.3%. I don't believe there's any stipulations for that. I don't think that you need to have direct deposit or anything else set up. So just straight 3.3%. And then, of course, no fees, which none of these banks that I'm listing today have any sort of fees. But then you see Bank of America, Chase, Wells Fargo. All of these have fairly significant fees or minimum deposit amounts. And then the APY or the interest that you're going to get on these accounts are just abysmal. I mean, 0.01%, 0.15%. I mean, literally, you're not getting anything out of this, just pennies. And so, again, Ally is a great option and much better than any of these traditional banks that I'm sure many of you have. All right, so time for option number 4, savings account number 4, which is Marcus by Goldman Sachs. And this is an online savings account, high yield account that earns more, again, than any of the traditional bank accounts. They are offering right now 3.3% APY. So again, right up there with the best of them. Goldman Sachs, I'm sure many of you are familiar with them. They're an investment bank. Recently started Marcus just a couple of years ago, and again, they've been one of the best providers, one of the best online banks of the last couple of years. So again, similar to the rest of the bank accounts that I've been showing you, so no minimum balances, unlimited withdrawals, variable rate, as I mentioned earlier in the video. So the rate will update periodically. No fees or penalties. And one really important point here that, again, all the other banks are providing as well is that they're FDIC insured. For any of you who are not familiar with that, so this means $250,000 of the money that you have in a savings account is insured by the federal government. So this is to prevent runs on banks. I can go into what that is in another video, but basically what it means is it prevents people from withdrawing a bunch of money, and if the bank runs out of money, just like what happened to FTX, that cannot happen by any bank that's FDIC insured, because the federal government will insure that money for you, so you won't be super worried and feel like you have to take the money out or else you lose it all. So Goldman Sachs and Marcus is FDIC insured, as are all of the other banks that I've mentioned and will mention in the rest of the video. So this is another great account and highly recommend them. All right, 5th and finally, and I've saved the best for last as far as the highest yield that you're going to get in a high yield savings account, and this is CIT Bank, and they are offering a 4.05% APY, which is $100 minimum opening deposit. So if you remember to the chart I showed you earlier on Ally Bank that showed the rates that some of the major banks are providing, we're talking about 0.01%, right? So CIT Bank is providing a much, much greater, literally over 100x greater return than what you're going to get in many of those other traditional banks. So a really great place to keep your money, and very reputable bank, and again provides many of the similar features that the rest of the accounts offer. So digital convenience, online banking, mobile app, deposit checks remotely, FDIC insured, as I mentioned, and no monthly service fees, and of course FDIC insured. So your money is safe and sound. So really incredible bank here, and definitely tops the list at 4.05% APY. So just to summarize where we're at so far, walked you through the top 5 highest yielding savings accounts that are available right now. All of them are really great options. They're digital first and very consumer friendly banks that are providing yields that are incredibly high and much, much higher than you're going to get from a standard traditional brick and mortar bank. So highly recommend you checking out those options if that's what you're looking for. Now, one other fantastic option, and I mentioned it earlier in the video that this was a bonus, was getting into iBonds. And iBonds are another great option. So this is basically a savings bond that you're going to get from the federal government, and this tracks the rate of inflation. And so as you can see here, if you go to treasurydirect.gov, you can purchase these iBonds, and they actually update the savings rate twice a year. So about 6 months ago, the rate that they were offering was over 9%, so really high, and it's since come down because inflation has come down. So again, this number here will relatively closely follow inflation. And if it sounds too good to be true, it's because it is a little bit, just in that there are some restrictions on what you can do for iBonds here. And the biggest restriction is that you are only allowed to purchase up to $10,000 of iBonds per year. So unfortunately, you can't dump all your money in there, but just $10,000 a year. And given that it's tax season, there's actually a way for you to purchase an additional $5,000 through filing your tax return. So make sure you connect with your accountant or whatever tax software you use to accomplish that. And you can secure yourself a 6.89% return for a savings bond that again this interest rate will update every 6 months with the rate of inflation. So really amazing option, and it's 2.89% higher, or 2.84% higher than the highest other bank on this list. So if you're able to invest in these, I also highly recommend it because they are the highest yielding, safest place to put your money right now. All right, and that wraps up the video. Really hope you guys found it helpful, and hopefully it will be useful for any of you who are evaluating banks right now and want to find the best place to stick your money during this period of market volatility and inflation. So don't forget on your way out to hit the like button for me, comment down below if you have any questions. I'll be sure to answer as many of them as I can, and subscribe if you haven't yet so you don't miss any future videos from me. All right, thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.